You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. And be sure to smash that like button. Jayden in the first quarter on Saturday against Arkansas was not very good. He threw a bad interception. Right. He was inaccurate on deep balls. It was just bad.
Yep.
And he finishes 20 of 29 for 324 touchdowns. The pick completes almost 68, almost 70% of his passes. I think one of the cliches we use is like the light switch. Like, how do you flip the switch? When it's going bad like that, how do you get it going?
Man, I think that's one of the best questions, and I don't know if it's the most unanswered or guessed upon question, and that, it's that it factor. What does it? I can tell you from my career, there are times early in my career that I didn't overcome a bad play quick enough. I let it fester, and it carried on, and then I got out of my own head, and it kind of got fixed, because whatever it is you do, you say, whether it's talking to a coach or going through stuff. And I'm just using mine as an example so I can draw upon why other people struggle with it or don't, is that some people dealing with failure and success, you've got to get over both of them equally as urgent. You can't harbor around and sit around in the harbor of success all the time, because as a quarterback, you're waiting until you get to kneel down at the end. You could throw for 400 in the first half, throw 2 picks in the second half, and you're finished. So, I mean, you lose a game, and the stats don't matter. So you got to get over success week to week and play to play just as urgently as failure. And there was a time in my career after 2 knee surgeries, and I thought, well, am I losing confidence? I didn't get over. I let it fester 3 or 4 plays, which cost me even those plays. What Jayden Daniels is doing now, one, is an understanding of everything he's trying to get accomplished. One, that's another cliche, but I don't know if you could put your finger on what it is other than great mental toughness and the ability and faith to know you've put all the time in that where you're living negatively in that first quarter is not you. I don't know if that makes sense, Maddie, but it's like, I think Jayden Daniels played enough football now where it's like, no. Arkansas is a good football team, but this isn't me. And it is hard. It's one of the hardest things to do, especially, people are rumbling. You get a few boos and a smattering here and there. What's going on? Oh, okay. But to be able, and then it only may take a quarter, 3 completions, 1 big play to get you back into it. But I found that at times early in my career to say, okay, how do you flip that switch? And a few completions, a coach that believes in you, where they stay aggressive and you stay aggressive, but it comes down to a couple good decisions. Some can't. Matty, you've seen it all over. You've seen it all over the place. One, they'll fester, and they'll go from one bad decision to the next. And here's why I love what happened to him. While LSU fans don't like it being that close, have to win with a field goal, you find another thing out about Jayden Daniels that maybe 3 years ago he wasn't prepared to do, and that is to take bad football and a poor quarter and a time when everybody's like, what the hell is going on with this great talent, and transfer it, and then not only put your team in position to win, but go haywire with your numbers in the second half when it mattered the most, and put your team in position to win a football game. And I love that. That's why I like I don't mean to keep referring to C.J. Stroud, but first 2 games of the season, he got his brains beat in. He could have wilted and said, you know what, I'm a rookie, this stuff. But he just kept firing. They kept loading up, and they kept trusting him. And I think that has a lot to do with it, too, is the belief that, dude, you're our guy, man. Drop back and let it rip. Just play smart. But good decision makers, I guess maybe that's it. Good decision makers with their football in their game and their preparation know that that's not them. They don't live. They rent space in bad stuff. They don't live there and own the bad space, and they're able to get out of it quickly. And I don't think that's easy to do. And I don't think a lot of them can. The great ones just say, you know what, we see Favre do it when he was playing, throw 3 picks in the first half and overcome it. And then some will compound a mistake by forcing something, premeditating a read. I think Jayden Daniels, maturity-wise, and the elevation, plus he's seen a lot of defenses, and his ability now has also matched his mental preparedness, his emotional toughness. And I personally, when somebody asks me what the number 1 trait of a quarterback is, to me it's the emotional toughness to overcome success and failure, which all happen usually in the same game. And he's at that point now.
You know what's interesting, too? I was thinking he, of course, started his career at Arizona State. And you look at the Pac-12 right now.
Oh,
Imagine if Jayden was still in Tempe. I mean,
oh my
no, we're
gosh.
glad he's not, obviously.
Right.
I'm not sure if you saw this, but Michael Penix has the best Heisman odds now. He's overtaken Caleb Williams. If I asked you best quarterback in college football today, who would you take?
I would take Williams because he's got so many. I was at the game, Matty. I'm still in Scottsdale right now.
Okay.
I was at the game, and I was with a long-standing offensive coordinator in college football. Has been a highly successful coordinator. We were at the game together. And he obviously has seen Caleb Williams, and has not seen him up close like I had. And I said, you're going to enjoy it. He goes, well, tell me what's good about him. So we talked. And at halftime, he comes over to me because he was making throws. And one, we were in the end zone camera. We could see him work progressions through with his head just kind of moving. And he looked at me and tapped me and goes, ooh, this guy's different. I said, yeah. And it's because of all the things he can do. And he's accurate. He's got tremendous command. I would take him because of what the thing, and Penix can move, but because of what we're looking at now at quarterbacks, you know what I'm saying, Matty? We want the guy who can beat you with his legs, dialed in and is accurate, and all those things. And I think Caleb's light. But if you're just talking about throwing the football and a guy who is not only, in my mind, maybe as pure a thrower and as good a throwers of the ball and there is in college football, Michael Penix, he should be the leading Heisman guy now. If I'm the NFL, the first pick, I just don't see how you can pass on Caleb Williams for a lot of those things. But I don't think you're getting ripped off too much if you take, Penix, and there's a few others in that conference. You're right. If Jayden was in there, I mean, it's already quarterback heavy. Add the best quarterback in the SEC, it'd be sick. So, yeah, I would take Caleb Williams now, but Michael Penix isn't far behind. That is a conference loaded with great throwers, and Penix should be because I think they're a dangerous national championship threat at the University of Washington. They have physical, they'll run it, and they don't care where they're throwing it from. They got guts, and that dude is a monster with the football in his hand. If you're taking Caleb Williams, and I'm sitting there, and you're going to give me Michael Penix, I'm going to win a lot of football games. Love him. Yeah. Absolutely love the way he throws the ball.
Hey, last thing, man. LSU's going to go to Oxford this week to play Ole Miss. And Jackson Dart, oddly, Sean, is their leading rusher right now. They have not gotten Quinshon Judkins going. They've struggled to run the football there in Oxford. But Lane's a great play caller, right? So when you look at this week where LSU defensively has been really bad, I mean, I don't know if there's any other way to say it. They've been opportunistic, but they've been mostly bad. And you got to go against Lane Kiffin, Jackson Dart, but they've lacked a run game. Like, is it one of those things where we know LSU's going to score because they're kind of scoring on everybody, but how do you, if you're struggling, I guess the way to ask the question, John, when you're struggling on defense, you're going to go against this guy that's this really elite play caller. How do you match wits this week if you're Matt House against Lane Kiffin when you got a defense that really is struggling?
Yeah, that's a great point. And you know what? Ole Miss's defense is pretty good, Matty. They're getting after it a little bit, right? But LSU is going to score, right? They will score. You remember watching Ole Miss's defense, their running game last year?
Yeah.
Matty, they were, committed to it, right? One of the best in the country, and they can score. And the thing with Jackson Dart is he's got great feet. He's a dynamic talent, and sometimes he gets a little erratic with the football, but hence why Lane wanted him when he left USC. The guy is a dynamic skill set. I would guard against, I'd be very careful if I'm LSU's defense this week, and they have been opportunistic. I don't think Lane Kiffin's going to this game thinking we got to throw 45, 50 times with. I think he's going to try and run it. Now, whether that's inside zone, pull, read, get on the edge with Jackson Dart, some bootlegs or whatever it is to get him on the edge, yes. And they will throw it, and he's talented enough to beat you throwing the football. He is. But if they can get the run game going and add some play action, we've talked about certain coordinators in the past. I know this. He wants to run it. And I know they've struggled to do it, but he believes that they can. And if he runs into a team that thinks you're going into it's going to be it's Jackson Dart left, Jackson Dart right, and Jackson Dart dropping back and throwing it. Well, if it gets to a point where they're down, that may be the case. But if I'm LSU, I would guard against thinking you're going to go and play a team that's going to want to throw it 50 times. They're going to try to run it. I assure you, because for two reasons. One is because everybody knows right now they're struggling doing it. Two is LSU's defense, you've been able to move the ball. Three is that dude that plays quarterback, I need to limit 75. I can't give him 80 plays. I just can't give him 80 plays. So you're going to try to limit it, shorten the game, which I think is huge in a game like this. And make no mistake, Ole Miss can score, but while Jackson Dart has been the guy, do not be shocked if Lane Kiffin tries to manipulate and create formations and positions where he can get guys in space to run the football and hope that this is the week they get it started. I don't think he wants to go in throwing because he knows that there is the potential of the Johnny on the spot defense when they come up with some big plays in LSU. I don't think he wants to let Jayden Daniels have 80 snaps at it. They will try to run it at some point in this game if they can.
He is Sean Salisbury on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Good enough to hang out with us here every Tuesday. Hey, man, also, I was checking out your social media, your Twitter account. Give us a tidbit. What is Pro Sports Fans? I see that on there.
Yeah, well, I'm the president of the company, and we started this about 3 years. The technology's been it's the best fan engagement app on the planet, and I know that sounds like I'm patting myself on the back. We've got great content creators. Think about the Manning cast for games. We have every baseball playoff game covered. We will have every NBA game covered, and we have every football game covered in every market. We've hired talent and content creators. So during the games, they're on there with a Manning cast in every city, every football team there. Wow. But also, it's regular shows during the week, and instead of it being, and I know you got to go, Matt, instead of being just a podcast where you got to go and a week later you get the answer from what you wanted, it's audio, video. Well, there'll be a peer-to-peer button on there as we're working for technology. But right now you're going, it's community chat rooms that give the fans a seat at the table. Every day is game day for us. So you go in, people are doing their podcast. You pop in, there'll be 150 people in the chat room. Somebody comes in, if they got a question on an interview, like if you and I were doing it right now, we'd let them in, and the fans get to engage. And after the game, when they're pissed, they get to jump in. And we're also building it with Power 5 schools all across the country. So it's been good, and I think it's a game changer. And the numbers and the metrics from the way they measure apps, which is way above my head. We've got great content creators, great technology, and a great group of people. And the fans are proving to us. The metrics are saying we're doing record stuff every weekend for our app, and we're only a handful of months into it. I think we're on to something special, Matty. Go check it out at PSF_app on Twitter, and go get the Pro Sports Fan app. It's free. And we're headed places that the fans never been able to go with talent and on air, so we can't wait.
Very cool, man. I'm going to go download it and check it out. Pro Sports Fans. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, there you go. Appreciate you, brother.
You're the best. We appreciate the time. We'll do it next week.
Ditto, brother. Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.